Hi, I'm Charla with Freezer Meals 101. This week is Freezer Meal Week in our house. My neighbor and I get together once every 3 months to do a massive freezer meal assembly thing. We've got a system that works super well. And then we've got meals that last both of our families a full 3 months. So in between there, I will still do things like making snacks that go in the freezer or breakfast, things like that. But the bulk of our dinners come from that once every 3 months assembly. So what I wanted to do is walk you through the prep from very start to finish of what we do to do this massive 3-month freezer meal thing. So the first thing that I need to do is make room in my freezers. Now when I open this freezer, you're going to be wondering why I'm making freezer meals, because it looks pretty full, but I'll show you that actually we're pretty in need of it. So again, it looks pretty full there, but this entire shelf here is all snacks and breakfast. These are like mini egg, egg bites, so like mini omelets. And then these are smoothie bags and like mini corn dog muffins. This is all snacks and breakfast foods. So and then here I've got more smoothie bags, and I've got some Christmas baking. Like, this is a mass of different things, but there's only, I'm seeing like 7 actual meals left. So I'm gonna go through this and make space. I'll be moving some of the things down to the bins in the bottom, like the smoothie bags and things like that, and then I will also be moving some of the breakfast foods and snacks over to the second freezer to make space. The second thing that I'm going to do is do an inventory of what I already have, and that's to make sure that I don't buy more than I need. So with that, I'm going to be looking like in my pantries to see what I have, and making sure that we buy everything that we need, but not too much. So I'll also be going through my spices and doing an inventory of those. So after you've done an inventory of what you have and made space in your freezer for your new meals, you're going to sit down and choose the recipes that you're going to use. You can do that with regular cookbooks or your family favorites. You can pull out your recipe box or your recipe binder, or you can, of course, go online. You do pull them off online. You just want to print them out so that you have them and don't lose them or don't forget where you found them. So once you've chosen your recipes, you're going to make a list, and I'm going to show you my list in a second. And you might also want to consider the store sales, so you can look at flyers and things like that when you're choosing which recipes you want to make. That's another idea that I use quite often. And once you have your recipes printed out or the recipe books all set and you've made a list, then you're gonna do 2 types of grocery lists. And I'm gonna show you mine. They're a mess, but I'm being real here, and I'm showing you exactly what I do, and I'm showing you the method I use that has worked for years and years and years. So here we go. Here I have the master list that I've written of the freezer meals we're going to do this time, and then I have printed off some of the recipes that we're using. Obviously, a lot of them came from my website because those are our tried and true favorites. And I've written some of them out, like at the back here. And the reason that some of these, or all of these, have check marks beside them is because the next thing I do after I've chosen recipes is I sit down and make a rough draft of the grocery list. And the rough draft is important when you're doing like a massive amount of freezer meals, And so every time I finish a recipe and add it to the grocery list, I put a check mark beside it so that I know that that's done and I've double checked and made sure that I have all the recipes. So this is what the rough draft of the grocery list looks like. So, and then you need to keep this, and I'll explain why in a second. But so I've gone through and like for chicken breasts cooked and cubed, I need 12 for one recipe and 6 for another. For just chicken breasts, I need 12 for a recipe, 16, 12, and 16. And then, you know, again, the ground beef in pounds, the veggie beef, the Mexican veggie beef, the onions. So I need minced onion. Again, I just use tally marks so that I can total them as I'm going through recipes, and then chopped onions, and up here I've got sliced onions. So then I can total the amount of onions I need, but the reason that I need to keep this list is, of course, so that we know afterwards what to prep in terms of how many of our onions need to be minced versus chopped versus sliced, how many of our red peppers need to be cubed versus how many red peppers need to be sliced. So this list is referenced again. And then the things on the side here in the margin are things that I want to check and see if I might already have, because I don't want to buy more than I need. So those are things that I think I might have in the pantry as I'm writing out the list, and then I can go and double check before I add them onto the final grocery lists. Some of the things that I've circled, again, are things that I wanted to check in the pantry. So that is what a mess, the rough draft, looks like. But this is a very handy document because, again, you can go back and see like how much ham do you need to cube versus how much do you need sliced, or whatever it is. So you've got this list. Then from this list, I make 2 other lists. So this is my Save On list. So this is a local grocery store, and the first Tuesday of every month they have 15% off. So we schedule our freezer meals around that. So it's Tuesday morning right now. I'm about to head to this grocery store to buy our 15% off groceries. And then we'll do prep today, and then freezer meals are always Wednesday, Thursday when we do it this way. So this is my list. Now, some things went directly onto this list because I knew they were only in one recipe. I knew that this was the list I was going to need them for. So that's why this list is bigger. And of course, I've got a few things on this list, like vanilla and guacamole, that, you know, are just for our family and not for the freezer meals. Then this list is the Bulk Barn and Costco list. So Christy does the Bulk Barn and Costco shopping, and so this list is the things that we know are a better price at Costco, even factoring in the 15% off that we can get at the local grocery store. So she will be buying this list today. I will be buying this list, and when we get home from our grocery shops, we have certain things that we prep. So she does cheese and onions and her own beef. I do my beef and veggie beef, and I do the chicken and peppers, whatever. We have a whole system. So when we get home from our grocery shops, we will get into the actual prep, and I'll show you how we do that. Okay, so we just finished our grocery shop and we're trying to push our carts through the parking lot. It is snowing, as you can see. We must be really committed to doing these freezer meals. So I'll just show you what we got. We got 2 carts. We got 2 carts full, and yeah, that's it. Another thing that you want to do when you're doing your prep is to print off labels. So So we use the Avery 5163-8163. I'll put a link down below to make it easier for you to find these labels. And we print our labels off like this. In our meal plans, the labels come done for you. And then we add the date to our labels so that we know exactly when we made them and how old that freezer meal is. There's also the cooking instructions and anything else that we'll need to know. Christy always makes a really cute label for our Marry Me chicken with the heart added, and because it's February and Valentine's Day is coming up, we just thought that'd be extra cute. So that is how we do our labels. So I'm winding down the prep. There's the sliced mushrooms, and over here I've got the Mexican veggie beef that's been browned, and in the oven I have the Italian sausage meatballs that will need to be flipped once, and then those will be done. Christy's done tons of prep at her house. The cheese, the onions, and her ground beef. What else have we done? Zucchini is cubed. Peppers are done. Carrots are done. It's been a bit of a long day, only because I had a work thing in between the shopping and the prep, but we are fairly set for tomorrow. I've got some of the ingredients already set out on the counters, and I've got the dishwasher running. I'm just gonna give the kitchen a quick clean before I head to bed, and tomorrow is the big day. So freezer meals, here we come.